Hello everyone. Right now, the topic we are going to cover to you guys is about Wireline Formation Test, WFT. Just before that, let me introduce to you guys our group members. We are from group 17. The first presenter is me, Irfan Shahmi. The second presenter is Muzammil Majlan. The third presenter is Naim Sukri. And the last presenter will be Iman Nordin. Okay, right now let us move on to the lesson outcomes. At the end of this video, you could define Wireline Formation Test and its objective. Next, you can explain the mechanisms of Wireline Formation Test. The third one is you could differentiate various types of Wireline Formation Tester. And the last one is you could list the advantages and disadvantages of Wireline Formation Test. Right now, let us move on to the second part, which is the lesson content. The first is Introduction to Wireline Formation Test. Next, the mechanism of Wireline Formation Test. The third one is types of Wireline Formation Test. Fourth, advantages and disadvantages of Wireline Formation Test. And the last content is the conclusion of this video. Now, move on to the next part, which is the introduction to Wireline Formation Test. What is Wireline Formation Test? The answer is, it is a class of wireline tools used to measure the downhole pressure of formations. What is the objective? The first objective is to obtain formation fluid samples and pressure profiling along the wellbore to determine fluid contacts. The second one is to conduct control local production and vertical interference at distinct points along the wellbore. The third one is to determine permeability barrier and high permeability streaks along the wellbore. And the last one to determine the horizontal and vertical permeability along the wellbore. Now we are done with introduction to Wireline Formation Test.
Moving on to the next part, which is the mechanism of the Wireline Formation Tester. This is done by using a Wireline Formation Tester. As you can see in the picture, Picture A is the tester in its retracted configuration, while Picture B shows the tool when it is set. First, the tool is lowered into the target depth. As it is lowered, the pressure gauge inside the tool measures the hydrostatic pressure of mud column. When the tester reaches the desired depth, it is set against the wall of the well and formation fluid is withdrawn into pretest chambers for sampling. After that, the excess fluid is expelled and the test is repeated on different depths. The next diagram shows the inside of a dual pretest wireline formation tester. It consists of two seal valves, an equalizing valve, two pretest chambers, filter probe, and a pressure gauge. The equalizing valve opens when the tool is activated and closes when it is retracted. This last diagram shows the pressure and flow rate recorded during the pretest sequence. The pressure starts to decrease after the tool is set, indicating mini drawdown, and increases after the pretest, which indicates build-up. We are now done with the mechanism of Wireline Formation Test.
Alright, we move on to the next part, which is the type of the wireline tester. Before that, we need to draw the beautiful whiteboard, sorry, highlight on the top. Okay. So types of wireline formation tester. Okay, the first one will be the repeat formation tester. The repeat formation tester can make any number of accurate pressure tests in one run in an open hole. It applies in the determination of reservoir pressure, fluid density, fluid contacts, differential depletions, reservoir intercommunication, and effective permeability of invaded and uninvaded zone. The repeat formation tester can take an unlimited number of formation pressure measurements and up to 2 fluid samples in a single trip in an open hole. To achieve a high degree of accuracy, the RFT tool makes use of advanced electronic circuitry and digital pressure readout. This capability of fast, accurate point-by-point pressure measurement has opened up a new series of pressure measurement of reservoir analysis methods. The technique of point-by-point evaluation of reservoir pressure can be used to determine pressure profiles, fluid density, fluid contacts, differential depletion, and reservoir intercommunication. Analysis of the drawdown and build-up curves can provide measurement of effective permeabilities in the invaded zone and in uninvaded zone. For the sampling purposes, the ability to evaluate the formation permeability before committing a sample chamber allows the selection of the most suitable sampling level and increases the chance of formation fluid recovery. Okay, moving on to the second one, which is the formation interval tester. The formation interval test is used for a single test, only one pressure reading and one fluid sample for each run. A tool is actuated. A pad is tightly against the formation to form a seal against hydrostatic pressure of the fluid in the borehole. A shaped charge is then fired into the formation matrix, opening the passageway for the formation matrix fluids to flow into the chamber in the tool. At the same time, the formation matrix pressure will be recorded. By comparison, which is with the older tools, in the other names, the formation interval tester feed has a range of problems, including low pressure accuracy, bad sealings, mixed samplings of mud filtrate, and reservoir fluids. It will not operable in unconsolidated formations and required one run per sample with a long redressing time between runs.
Moving on to the fluid samplings. In fluid sampling, larger sample of fluid can be taken on a surface for analysis, usually 1 to 10 gallon or more. This is due to the ability of the fluid to freely fill the pre-test chamber. Because of the mud evasion, last fraction of the fluid sampling may be mud filtrate. Resistivity of water, API gravity, water chemistry and gas-oil ratio value can be measured at the well site, but it must be prior planning of the vendors. To ship the fluid sampling to laboratories for further analysis, the pressure of the fluid must be maintained at formation pressure, but it requires special vessel that must be approved by Department of Transportation. We are done with type of wireline formation test. Moving on, the advantage and disadvantage of wireline formation test. For advantage of wireline formation test, it is quick and inexpensive compared to the conventional well test and drill steam test, DST. This is because wireline formation test is a new technology and we can get pressure data directly from the probes. This technology actually has replaced DST and conventional well test that requires longer time and more expensive. Besides, wireline formation test has small radius of investigation, usually 10 feet radially and vertically along the well bore. This results in shorter period in data recording. Other than that, this technique is widely being used in exploration and reservoir development projects due to the low cost and short period of time in doing this test. Lastly, the advantage is it reduces safety and environmental risk and also cost of operation. Now, we move on to the disadvantage of wireline formation test. The first disadvantage is the problem during conducting the test. The equipment that we put to the wellbore may be stuck on the wellbore, and there is some problem in interpretation of mud cake. Besides, the radius of investigation is larger than coring and logging method. Are done in advantage and disadvantage of wireline formation test. As conclusion, wireline formation test is a tool to measure downhole formation pressure. It is a new method that overcomes weakness and problem happen in drill steam test, DST. Wireline formation test is used to obtain formation fluid sample and pressure profile along the wellbore to determine fluid contact, conduct control local production and vertical interference, determine permeability barrier and high permeability streak along the wellbore, determine horizontal and vertical permeability. Lastly, there are two types of wireline formation tester, which is repeated formation tester and formation interval tester. Now, done with conclusions. That's all from our groups. Thank you.